I was 4 years older than Ethan. He pursued me for 6 years before I finally agreed to marry him. He adored me completely, vowing that he would only ever love me. But later, I overheard a conversation he had with his friends. Once a woman turns 30, she starts to show her age. What does it matter how beautiful Grace is? She'll still get fine lines around her eyes. I can't even bring myself to touch her anymore. She just gives off such a boring vibe, totally lacking the spice and thrill of a young, wild thing like Chloe on the outside. Ethan, one act of betrayal means you're out for good. I wouldn't sacrifice my entire life for 7 years of history. Ethan finally came home at 2 in the morning. He stood by the bed, watched me for a moment, then grabbed his cigarette pack and left again. I hadn't actually been asleep. I got up and went to the living room. Through the curtains, I heard him complaining on the phone to a friend. Good thing she's asleep. I was genuinely afraid she'd expect me to perform my conjugal duties. I really don't want to touch her right now. What does it matter how pretty she is? Once a woman hits 30, she just feels repulsive and old. Besides, Chloe out there is insatiable. How could I have any energy left to deal with her? If I hadn't heard it with my own ears, I wouldn't have believed such cruel words could come from Ethan, who had always doted on me. We hadn't been intimate for 2 months. Ethan had been incredibly busy lately, working overtime almost every day and occasionally traveling for business. He said he didn't want to wake me, so he just slept in the home office. I still naively thought he was being caring and considerate. I never imagined he was just disgusted with me and no longer loved me. While he was in the shower, I went through his phone. Ethan's phone password was my birthday, something that hadn't changed in years. At the top of his chat history was a cartoon cat avatar. Their chat was suspiciously bare, with only one message sent by the other person not long ago. I love you too. 4 simple words, yet they made my hands tremble uncontrollably. So this was his Chloe. I clicked on her social media feed. Her cover photo was a cheek-to-cheek selfie with Ethan. Even though only half of Ethan's face was visible, I recognized him instantly. The girl wore soft, pink makeup, her eyes curving into crescents as she smiled. She was indeed young and beautiful. Her social media feed was full of posts, the latest one from 10 o'clock tonight. 2 hands, fingers intertwined, on a pristine white bedsheet, leaving much to the imagination. And the ring on the man's finger was the very one I had personally put on Ethan's hand years ago. I didn't have time to grieve. I quickly scrolled down. On the 20th of the month, she posted a bouquet of fresh flowers and a payment record for $5,200. Looks like I'll be worn out again tonight. I remembered that day. I had booked a candlelit dinner to celebrate Valentine's Day with Ethan, but he received a last-minute notice to travel for business. The frequent displays of affection made my head spin. Finally, my gaze settled on April 1st. The picture she posted showed her sexy collarbone, adorned with a fresh hickey. He's finally mine. I thought about it, and that was the day Ethan stopped touching me. I took photos of all their payment records. Then I put the phone back where it belonged and returned to the bedroom to sleep. The next morning, I was woken by Ethan's kiss. Half asleep, I remembered what he'd said last night, and a wave of nausea hit me. I pushed him away. He didn't seem to notice anything was amiss. Honey, breakfast is ready, all your favorites. Ethan dotingly pinched my cheek. I have something at work, so I'm heading out. His voice was as gentle as ever. After left, I looked at the steaming hot food and milk on the dining table, my thoughts drifting back 7 years. I first met Ethan on the day he registered as a freeze man. His suitcase had been knocked open by a rushing student, scattering his clothes and belongings everywhere. I helped him pack his things and even showed him to his dorm room. I thought we'd only had a brief encounter, but over the next 3 months, I kept running into him all over campus. Each time, he'd sweetly call me Grace. During a morning assembly, I fainted from low blood sugar because I'd woken up late and missed breakfast. It was Ethan who carried me to the infirmary. From then on, he would wait for me downstairs by my dorm building every day, bringing me breakfast. My roommate said enviously, "He's so handsome and charming, why don't you just give in to him already?" I shook my head. I was 4 years older than him, and I wasn't interested in an age gap relationship. Later, after I graduated and started working, he would wait downstairs at my company to pick me up after work whenever he didn't have classes. On weekends, he'd come to my rented apartment and cook for me. Whenever I tried to convince him to give up, he'd give me a pitiful look. "Grace, don't send me away. I just want to be good to you." 6 years of trying to win me over. I finally succumbed. Ethan once said he would make me breakfast for the rest of our lives. Look how considerate, how devoted he was. His heart wasn't with me anymore, yet he still remembered his promise. If it weren't for the sweet photos of him and Chloe in my album, and the substantial payment screenshots that were undeniably real, I would even doubt that what I heard and saw last night was just a nightmare. That evening, Ethan, uncharacteristically, came home on time. Seeing the empty dining table, he paused, then chuckled, "Let's eat out tonight." "I know a trendy restaurant." I shook my head, cutting him off. "I've already eaten." Only then did he notice a bowl of leftover instant noodles on the coffee table. He feigned a scolding tone, "Junk food is bad for your skin. Aren't you afraid of turning into an old hag?" I had just turned 30 this year, and to Ethan, who was only 26, I was indeed getting old. I gave a forced smile. "Old is old, I guess. Doesn't matter." Ethan laughed, wrapped his arm around my waist, and said intimately, "Even if my honey gets older, she'll always be my darling." As he spoke, he leaned in to kiss me. Feeling his intense desire, I subtly avoided his advances. "I'm very tired. I don't feel like it." Ethan froze, clearly displeased, but he tried hard to suppress his anger. While I was washing dishes in the kitchen, he took a call. Then he grabbed his jacket from the sofa. "Something urgent came up at the company. I have to go. Don't wait up for me." After showering that night, just as I lay down in bed, my phone rang. It was an unknown local number. I answered, but there was only silence on the other end. I thought it was a prank call and was about to hang up when I heard Ethan's voice from the other end of the line. "Haven't seen you all day, and you already miss me this much?" The girl whined, "Thinking about babe having to go back to that old hag later makes me so sad." Then came the sounds of kissing and heavy breathing. Ethan's voice was husky. "I'm not coming back tonight. Just don't beg for mercy later." They had a lot of tricks up their sleeves, and a lot of dirty talk. I was absolutely stunned. Thankfully, the moment I heard Ethan's voice, I hit record. Later, I searched the number on a social media app. As expected, it belonged to Chloe, Ethan's mistress. I casually sent a friend request, and she accepted it almost immediately. It was clear she knew about me and was deliberately trying to show off. As soon as I arrived at the office, I received a bouquet of flowers Ethan had ordered for me, along with a food delivery. He called me. "Honey, I got called away for an urgent business trip, so I probably won't be back for a few days. I ordered chicken noodle soup from your favorite place for you. Eat it while it's hot." "Okay." After Anging up, I casually scrolled through my social media feed. Sure enough, Chloe had updated her status, a lavish breakfast spread, captioned, "Someone who makes you breakfast by hand must really love you." I once thought Ethan only loved me. A female colleague saw the flowers on my desk and exclaimed enviously, "Where do you find such a thoughtful and romantic husband?" Yes, to outsiders, my being with Ethan was already considered marrying up. He was young, ambitious, and not only wealthy but also had a promising future. But I wasn't bad myself. During my school years, I was the campus belle and at the top of my class. After graduating, I used my solid professional knowledge and hard work to successfully join a leading company in the industry and rose through the ranks. Seeing my colleague admiring the bouquet, I said, "If you like them, you can have them." Her face lit up with surprise. "Director, are you serious?" I smiled. "Take them. And please help me toss this food delivery." Grace didn't want this kind of fake love. From frequently updated social media feed, I learned about their activities over the past few days. Ethan had taken her to Disneyland and watched fireworks with her. He had even helped her rent an apartment near her university. I felt neither anger nor sadness. Instead, I saved all the evidence of Ethan's infidelity. Ethan contacted me again on the evening of the third day. "Honey, I found a really good Japanese restaurant. I'll take you next time." I just found it amusing. He'd just finished eating Japanese food with Chloe and then thought of me? Was I supposed to be touched? I didn't expose him, instead feigning surprise. "You're back in Fairview?" He paused, then chuckled, "Not yet. A colleague recommended it, and I wanted to try it with you. So when are you coming back?" His voice sounded a little excited. "Did you miss me?" "I'll come back tonight." I gave a non-committal Actually, during the time Ethan was on his business trip, I'd already moved out of our so-called home. I also had a small apartment downtown, a graduation gift from my parents. So when Ethan eagerly returned home and didn't find me there, he became annoyed. "Grace, what time is it? Why aren't you home?" "Oh, I'm out of town on a business trip." He sounded like he was grinding his teeth. "Why didn't you tell me this morning?" Right. If I'd told him this morning, he might have extended his business trip for a few more days to be with Chloe. I was only assigned the trip this afternoon. He sighed, then asked, "Can you make it back by tomorrow night?" "Why?" Uncle's birthday. He invited us for drinks. I said lightly, tell David I can't make it. Ethan's voice was unreadable. Let me know when you're coming back, and I'll pick you up. Okay. That night, Chloe proactively sent me a photo. A plush bunny. It was on my bed. Suppressing my nausea, I took out the divorce papers I had prepared earlier, reviewed them, and made some adjustments. The next evening, Chloe sent me another photo. The photo showed Uncle and a group of men and women. It looked like Ethan had taken her to the party. Immediately after, she sent a provocative message. You're really patient, aren't you? I gave a wry smile, grabbed my bag, and headed out. Ethan, I wondered what expression you'd have when you saw me later. When I arrived at the bar, I went to the restroom to touch up my makeup. No matter what, I still needed to maintain my image. Just as I finished applying my lipstick, a girl burst in clumsily. She slipped and nearly fell. I instinctively reached out and steadied her. She patted her chest, thanking me like a startled deer. It was her. I narrowed my eyes slightly. It was Ethan's Chloe. She looked at me for a moment. Grace, your lipstick shade is so pretty. I never posted selfies on my social media feed, and my profile picture was a landscape photo, so it was no wonder she didn't recognize me. She chatted with me enthusiastically. I'm here with my boyfriend. Are you with your boyfriend too, Grace? I shook my head. Alone. She winked at me. Then you'd better be careful, Grace. You're so pretty, you might attract some real jerks. I tucked my long hair behind my ear. Thanks for the heads up. Her gaze fell on the bracelet on my wrist, and her eyes lit up. Wow, Grace, your bracelet is so pretty. Where did you get it? I'll ask my boyfriend to buy me one too. She was indeed a lively and sweet-talking girl. No wonder Ethan was so captivated by her. I took off the bracelet. Here, you can have it. She looked flattered and surprised. Really? Grace, you're too kind. Yeah, I'm tired of wearing it. Not suspecting a thing, she put the bracelet on her wrist and admired it. This bracelet was quite expensive. Ethan had bought it for me with the first money he ever earned. I had worn it for 5 years. Something I once treasured, I now realized, as I let it go, that nothing was truly indispensable. Chloe seemed genuinely happy, showing off the bracelet in the mirror, taking various pouty selfies. I quietly left the restroom. At the entrance to the private room where they often gathered, I heard a conversation coming from inside. Ethan, you can have your fun, but why did you bring your mistress here? Ethan's voice sounded a little helpless. She insisted on coming, I couldn't do anything about it. Just keep spoiling her. Watch out, your Grace will find out about your cheating. Ethan was silent for a moment, then scoffed, who doesn't like a lively, cute young girl? Besides, Grace is already 30. My fingers trembled. There was a time when Ethan also carefully held me in his arms, telling me with utmost sincerity, in my heart, you'll always be the most beautiful and adorable girl. I promise to be devoted and love only you. Just then, Chloe also returned from the restroom, looking somewhat surprised to see me. Grace, we meet again. With that, she pushed open the private room door, rush. In, threw her arms around Ethan's neck, and whined, Babe, Grace just gave me a super pretty bracelet. Look, Ethan's doting smile froze the moment he saw Chloe showing off the bracelet. He then looked up frantically, his eyes meeting mine as I leaned against the doorframe. Almost simultaneously, he pushed the girl who was clinging to him away. Chloe, you go home first. So's real name was Chloe. The atmosphere in the private room instantly became incredibly tense. Uncle and his group exchanged glances, then Uncle spoke up to smooth things over. Grace, this is a misunderstanding. Let's explain. I smiled, looking at Ethan. He hissed at the girl beside him, aren't you leaving? This girl was quite interesting. Knowing who I was, she didn't flee in a panic. Instead, she huddled behind Ethan like a startled kitten. She looked at me, appearing flustered and helpless on the surface, but her eyes held a hint of smugness and cunning. It seemed I had underestimated her. Perhaps she had already seen my photos on Ethan's phone. Her chance encounter with me in the restroom earlier was probably deliberate. No need to be shy. Miss Chloe and I have already met, haven't we? I raised an eyebrow, looking at Chloe. Chloe immediately looked at Ethan frantically, putting on an innocent and wronged expression. Ethan quickly regained his composure. Grace, whatever you have to say, direct it at me. Chloe is just a young girl, don't scare her. I didn't expect him to be so responsible. I couldn't be bothered to waste words with him. Cutting straight to the point, I said, all I need is your signature. With that, I took the divorce papers from my bag and handed them to Ethan. His hand was trembling, but he tried hard to appear calm. Uncle also panicked, advising, "Grace, don't be rash. Ethan's just drunk." I shook my head. They've been together for 2 months. This time, Uncle couldn't cover for him anymore. Ethan looked at me, his voice a little hoarse. "You knew all along? And for all this time, you've been acting like nothing happened." Did he expect me to act like a shrew, interrogating him, yelling at him, or begging him? I twitched my lips. His face was grim. So, the business trip was fake, and setting a trap for me was the real plan? Uncle pulled Ethan back, gesturing for him to stop talking. But I didn't remain silent. "Ethan, remember, you are the one at fault in this marriage. What is there for you to feel wronged about?" Ethan gritted his teeth, and without even looking at the contents of the agreement, he flipped to the last page and signed. Then he took Chloe's hand. "Let's go." They strode quickly out of the private room. Uncle was anxious and wanted to pull him back, but I stopped him. I knew Ethan. He was proud and arrogant, never easily admitting defeat, especially in front of his friends. That's precisely why I chose to expose him today. This way, even if he didn't want to, he would agree to divorce me for the sake of his pride. In fact, tonight went even smoother than I expected. At least there were no arguments or drama, and he signed the divorce papers. For the next 2 days, Chloe would occasionally send me photos of herself and Ethan. I ignored them. As for why I hadn't deleted her yet, it was because even though Ethan had signed, we hadn't been to the county's office, so it wasn't an official divorce. Therefore, the more evidence of his infidelity I had, the better. That night, Chloe sent me a photo of herself and Ethan drinking at a bar. I figured since Ethan wasn't home, it was a good time for me to go over and get some things. When I opened the door, however, I saw Ethan sitting in the dimly lit room, looking a bit haggard. Wasn't he supposed to be partying with Chloe at the bar? Since we'd run into each other, there was no need to hide. I said, "I came back to get some things." He glanced at me, his voice dry. "Do we really have to get divorced?" I looked at him curiously. "You already signed the papers." After I finished packing my things in the bedroom and was ready to leave, Ethan called out to me. "I've already broken up with her. So, can we not get divorced?" Ethan said, slipping a cold object into my hand. I opened my palm and saw it was the bracelet. He had gotten it back from Chloe. Ethan's voice was a little urgent. "Grace, please forgive me this one time." He didn't seem to be lying, and I could tell he hadn't been doing well these past few days. But what did that have to do with me? I said faintly, "Ethan, I told you before, one act of betrayal means you're out for good. So, let's schedule a time to go to the county's office as soon as possible." As I spoke, I tossed the item in my hand into the trash can by the entryway without a second thought. I didn't look back at him until I left. What I didn't expect was for Chloe to actively seek me out. On after work, when the company building was busy, someone suddenly rushed over and blocked my path. Chloe's eyes were red, and she looked utterly pitiful. "Grace, please just let Babe and me be together." I was completely confused. Hadn't I already stepped aside? "You're so much older than Babe, why are you still clinging to him?" I was amused by her. Me clinging to Ethan? It seemed Ethan must have been cutting ties with her, and she was panicking. So, perhaps she had staged those old photos herself a few days ago. She paid no attention to the onlookers, speaking through tears. "Grace, you have money and a good job, why do you have to steal my boyfriend from a college student like me?" Now I truly laughed. She knew she was the mistress, yet now she was turning around and accusing me, playing the victim, trying to ruin my reputation? I said calmly, "Chloe, do your class advisor and classmates know you're the mistress of a married man?" Her face instantly turned ghostly pale. "But your acting really is quite good. You're certainly worthy of being a drama student." My sarcasm and mockery left her speechless, and in the end, she could only run away sheepishly. That evening, Ethan called to confront me. I admit I was wrong, but I've already broken it off with Chloe. "Why did you still do that?" I asked with interest. "Oh? What did I do?" Ethan retorted, fuming, "You threatened her. You said you'd tell her school about us. She's still a student, you'll ruin her life like this. I've already apologized to you. This has nothing to do with her. Can't you just let her go?" I smiled. No. To call her smart, yet she was also a bit foolish. She flaunted everything on her social media feed. I'd seen her class check-ins, and knowing her name, it was easy to dig up information about her. The next day, I sued Chloe. The payment records and chat logs were all evidence. All the money Ethan transferred to her were our marital assets. She had to return my share. On the third day, Ethan found me again. He was both vexed and depressed. "I agree to go to the county's office with you. Are you satisfied now?" I raised an eyebrow. Fine, let's go now. The proceedings went smoothly. Ethan had no objections to the asset division I proposed. Coming out of the county's office, Ethan's face was grim. You'll stop at nothing to force me to divorce you, won't you? I turned to look at Ethan, suddenly realizing he wasn't as smart as I thought. Did tell you I sued her because you refused to divorce me? Ethan scowled. Wasn't it? I sighed. I merely confirmed the lie she told. Why couldn't you stand it? Ethan's expression shifted slightly. What do you mean? I smiled, deciding there was no need to hide anything from Ethan anymore. I forwarded all the provocative messages and pictures Chloe had sent me to him, one by one, including that very first phone recording. I smiled at Ethan. Please thank Chloe for me. She helped me collect so much evidence, which allowed me to secure the maximum benefits. Next month, remember to be on time to finalize the divorce. I smiled, got into my car, and drove away, leaving him in the dust. I did not withdraw the lawsuit against Chloe. This was the consequence she deserved to face. I had given her a chance and originally didn't want to pursue it further, but she provoked me again and again, showing no restraint. I was not a magnanimous person. However, Chloe paid back the money not long after. As for whether she scraped the money together herself or someone gave it to her, it had nothing to do with me. Ethan tried to find me many times. He was always repenting. He said he had lost my way. He just wanted some excitement. In his heart, there was only me from beginning to end. He claimed he didn't know Chloe had provoked me first. He said he had been deceived by her innocent appearance. I said coldly, but the fact remains that you cheated first. Shifting blame like this now truly makes me despise you. A week later, the company organized a dinner gathering. I was in a good mood and had a few drinks. Liam, an intern who had just joined the company, drove me home. After getting out of the car, I thanked Liam, only to be spotted by Ethan, who was waiting downstairs at my place. He immediately confronted me, without distinguishing right from wrong. Is this why you insisted on leaving me? Liam had only recently joined the company and didn't know I was married, much less that I was getting a divorce. He thought Ethan was harassing me, so he stepped in front, shielding me. Grace, don't worry, I'm here. I couldn't help but scoff. His impulsive demeanor was indeed somewhat similar to Ethan's back then. Back then, when I had just graduated and entered the workforce, I was also harassed by a client's boss. That day after work, the greasy middle-aged man, using the pretense of discussing cooperation, insisted on dragging me along to drink with him. Even after I politely refused, he stubbornly grabbed my hand. He tried to force me into his car. I was terrified then. It was Ethan, who had come to pick me up after school, who stepped in to rescue me. He was only 20 then, young and naive, yet brave and fearless. He was just like Liam now. He rushed over and shielded me. Old man, if you try to force Grace again, I'll call the police. Ethan helped me out of that predicament. He smiled naively and told me, Grace, don't be afraid, you have me. In that moment, I felt a sense of security I had never known before. Just you? Ethan looked at Liam disdainfully. Do you even know who I am to Grace? Ethan's voice pulled me back to reality. I sighed. I calmly told Liam, who was ready for a fight, Liam, he's a friend. We have a misunderstanding. You can go home now. Liam still looked worried. Are you really okay? I smiled. I'm fine. Thank you for tonight. Then text me later to let me know you got home safe? I nodded. Only then did Liam drive away. Ethan's voice was low. Who was that? I looked at him, smiling faintly. He's a new intern at the company. Very handsome, right? 10 years younger than me. Ethan assumed I was acknowledging a relationship with Liam, and his face darkened. How can you casually trust a kid like that? Aren't you afraid of being deceived? I smiled even wider, a hint of mockery in my tone. Like you? Ethan was speechless for a moment, his expression shifting. Mimicking his tone from earlier in the private room, I scoffed, who doesn't like a handsome young man? You're already 26. Ethan clenched his fists, clearly suppressing his emotions. So, you're doing this deliberately to get revenge on me? I shook my head. Ethan, you're too conceited. You were the one who betrayed our relationship and cheated first. So now you're desperate to pin the same crime on me to alleviate your guilt a little, aren't you? If thinking that helps you move on faster, then so be it. I turned to leave, but Ethan panicked. Grace, I believe you. I've always believed you. I said coolly, once, I believed you too. After a long moment, Ethan said hoarsely, I'm sorry, I fail. Edu. But can't you look at our 7 years together and give me one more chance? I've truly broken up with Chloe for good. I promise I won't have any contact with her ever again. She also promised me she wouldn't bother you anymore. Can we just pretend none of this ever happened? Before, we were so good together." As he spoke, his eyes reddened, glistening with unshed tears. I remembered the day 2 years ago when he successfully proposed to me. The 24-year-old boy shed tears of joy. He said he'd liked me since the day he saw me in his freshman year. I was the only one in his heart. He revolved around me every day. Everything he did was to make me happy. Even though I rejected him countless times, he still persevered for 6 years. Those 6 years had not been in vain. That's why he cried tears of happiness. I suppose he truly regretted it now. But he didn't know that my disillusionment with him wasn't solely because of Chloe. I took a deep breath. "Ethan, I'm 4 years older than you." He looked at me nervously, as if awaiting his final judgment. "I'm already over 30. No matter how beautiful a woman is, once she passes 30, she'll still get fine lines. A repulsive and old woman. You wouldn't even want to touch her." The hope in Ethan's eyes slowly faded, replaced by utter desolation. My voice remained cold. "Ethan, when you used such harsh words to describe me, do you know how disgusting you became in my eyes? You were the one who relentlessly pursued me. You were the one who solemnly swore that age wasn't an issue and that you only loved me. I didn't force you, I didn't demand anything from you, everything was your choice. But then, you betrayed me and spoke of me in such despicable ways. Ethan, you truly make me sick." This time when I left, Ethan didn't follow me. The 1-month deadline arrived. On the day we were supposed to finalize the divorce, Ethan couldn't be reached. Uncle called me, saying Ethan had taken too many sleeping pills and had just been rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment, urging me to go see him immediately. I rushed to the hospital room and saw Ethan lying weakly in the bed. Even in his daze, he was calling my name. Uncle handed me an empty pill bottle. He said Ethan had just had his stomach pumped and wasn't fully conscious yet. According to him, he had gone to Ethan's house that morning to get some documents, only to find the door open. Inside, he saw Ethan slumped on the sofa, an empty pill bottle lying beside his hand. He tried calling him, but Ethan didn't respond. Thankfully, they got him to the hospital in time. His life was saved. Uncle glanced at me, advising, "Ethan truly knows he made a mistake. He can't bear to lose you." I thanked Uncle, telling him to go on with his errands, and said I would stay here with Ethan. After David left, I sat on the chair beside Ethan's bed, picked up an apple nearby, and slowly began peeling it. Once the apple was peeled, Ethan's eyes fluttered, and he slowly came to. He saw me, pouted his pale lips pitifully, and spoke in a very weak voice. "Honey, you're here. The thought of a future without you makes life feel meaningless. I can't live without you." He spoke earnestly, with tears in his eyes. I cut the apple into pieces and held one to his lips. He looked overjoyed. "Honey's still the best to me." With that, he bit into it. After he finished 2 pieces, I slowly spoke. "After a stomach pump, you're not supposed to eat anything for 24 hours. Didn't the doctor tell you?" Ethan froze, his mouth, still chewing the apple, went still. I continued, "Before I came, I asked a friend. There were only 3 stomach pump procedures at the hospital this morning, and all the patients were women. One of my best friends works at this hospital. Besides," I picked up the empty pill bottle from the cabinet. "Didn't you personally replace all the sleeping pills in this bottle with vitamin C pills? In the first half of the year, to get a promotion, I was under a lot of work pressure and often suffered from insomnia. So I asked a friend to help me get a bottle of sleeping pills. I only took them for 2 days before Ethan raised an objection. He said too many sleeping pills were addictive and bad for my health. Later, I discovered he had secretly replaced my sleeping pills with vitamin C pills. At the time, I knew he meant well, so I didn't expose him. Yet now he was using this bottle of pills to try and win me back." Seeing me stand up, Ethan panicked. He immediately sat up and grabbed my hand. "Grace, I was wrong. I just don't want to be apart from you." He spoke earnestly. "I truly realize my mistake. You know how much I care about my pride, so at that time, I spoke carelessly, all for the sake of appearances. I just lost my way for a moment. Back then, I found Chloe's student ID, and that's how I met her. I thought she looked a lot like you back when you were in college. And she relentlessly pursued me. I just lost control for a moment. That night, Uncle found Chloe and me together. I only said those things to him on the phone. For the sake of my pride. I never truly thought that way in my heart." I listened quietly until he finished, finally understanding the full context. "But, everyone has to take responsibility for what they've said and done." I gently pried his hand, which was gripping mine tightly, away. My voice was calm. Ethan, if we don't get divorced, every time I see you, I'll just find you utterly filthy and repulsive. Everything you've done, everything you've said, it replays in my mind every single day, making me sick over and over again. It will only make me hate you more. Ethan, do you want me to grow to despise you even more? Ethan fell silent. I sighed. If you're well enough, let's go finalize the divorce. This time, Ethan didn't make any more excuses. Instead, he threw back the covers, got up, and put on his shoes. On the why from the hospital to the county's office, Ethan didn't say a single word. We obtained our divorce decree without a hitch. As we left the county's office, Ethan finally spoke. Can we still be friends? I didn't hesitate. No. After all, exes don't stay friends. Besides, Ethan straightened his back, listening intently. I've applied for a transfer, and I'll be leaving Fairview this week. Goodbye, Ethan. It wasn't until I had walked quite a distance that I heard Ethan's slightly trembling shout from behind me. Grace, I'm sorry. He sounded as if he'd poured all his strength into it. I'll wait for you here, I'll wait for you forever. I didn't look back, only raised my hand and gave a small wave. My life would only move forward, towards a better future for myself. Ethan's confession in the second year of my marriage to Grace, our intimate life hit a small snag. She was under immense pressure to get a promotion and was extremely busy with work. She became somewhat perfunctory towards me. I tried hard to understand and be considerate of her, but my unreleased desires grew increasingly restless. That weekend, I asked her to go see the latest romantic movie. I even booked a romantic suite. I wanted to surprise her, to help her relax a bit. But just 2 minutes before the movie started, she told me she had to work overtime and couldn't make it. Even though she apologized on the phone, I still felt very angry and disappointed. In the end, I watched the movie alone, utterly unenthusiastic. 10 minutes into the film, a female college student moved next to me and asked if she could sit in the empty seat beside me. She was wearing a long white dress, had long hair, and large eyes. The cinema was dimly lit, and in the play of light and shadow, I surprisingly found her resembling Grace from her college days. I nodded. Grace wasn't coming anyway, and the seat would be empty regardless. After the movie ended, I waited until most people had left before standing up. Then I noticed a student ID that had fallen onto the seat next to me. On the ID photo, the girl had well-defined features and a gentle smile. Looking closely, she didn't resemble Grace at all, but she was a very cute young woman. Later, I went to her school, found her, and returned her student ID. I initially thought our interaction would end there, but she asked for my phone number. A couple of days later, I received a call from Chloe, inviting me to dinner. Grace happened to be on a business trip out of town that day, and I was too lazy to cook for myself, so I agreed to meet Chloe. She invited me to the street food market near her school and took me to a roadside stall for some loaded fries. When I was in college, I often ate at street stalls on campus too. As I got older, Grace became more focused on nutrition, so I rarely ate at places like that anymore. Being with Chloe, I actually felt quite a bit younger. Chloe was lively, innocent, and endearingly naive. She ate spicy skewers without even realizing she had sauce on her face. In the end, I was the one who wiped it off for her. We started communicating more and more. She would share updates on her daily student life with me. At first, I didn't think much of it, just seeing it as making a new young friend to pass the time. Then one day, Chloe confessed her feelings to me. I immediately realized something was wrong and promptly told her I was married and there was no possibility between us. I even decisively deleted her from my friends list. On Fool's Day, I received a call from Chloe. She said she was in a hotel, had slit her wrists, and would die if I didn't go to her. I could have called the police, or sent a friend, but I still went myself. In fact, Chloe had lied, but I had already suspected as much. April's Day, what a coincidence, right? I merely gave myself an excuse to see her. Chloe hugged me, not letting me go, asking me to pity her, to care for her. I couldn't control myself. One time led to a second. Then a third. I knew what I was doing was wrong, yet I repeatedly betrayed Grace. Every day, coming home and seeing Grace, I felt like a complete jerk. More than once, I tried to break off contact with Chloe, but she always found new ways to make me compromise. I was deeply entangled, unable to free myself. I harbored guilt towards Grace while simultaneously enjoying the thrill Chloe brought me. One evening, while I was with Chloe, Uncle saw us. I felt incredibly guilty, but my pride wouldn't let me admit my mistake to Uncle. So I blamed Grace for everything. Grace was already 30, she was getting old, and I was tired of her. After saying those cruel and hurtful things, I regretted it immediately. So after making her breakfast, I made an excuse to leave. I couldn't focus on work all day. I thought a lot, realizing that in my pursuit of excitement during this time, I had neglected Grace. I decided to return to my family and completely break things off with Chloe. That day, I went home early. I tried to reconcile with her. After all, we hadn't hugged in 2 months. I missed her terribly. But she pushed me away. At that moment, I was really angry. I had a change of heart, yet she still ignored me. Just then, Chloe contacted me again. More than half of it was out of spite. I left home and once again fell into the pleasure of secret dalliances. After a few days of indulgence, I still missed Grace in my heart. I returned home enthusiastically, but Grace wasn't there. She said she was on a business trip. She usually informed me of her itinerary in advance. I felt another wave of frustration. In my anger, I brought Chloe back to our home. We passionately entwined on our bedroom bed, and I fantasized that she was Grace. I told myself repeatedly that I had to end this absurd and twisted relationship before Grace found out. But no secret stays hidden forever. The moment Grace appeared at the private room door, I knew. In this life, I would never be able to earn her forgiveness again.